I wonder how many versions or translations of the Bible there really are. Do you know? Do you have any idea? I Googled it, and guess what? There wasn't an answer. Google doesn't know. Now, if Google doesn't know how many different versions and different translations of the Bible exist, who does know? Maybe someone should ask Siri. Ask Siri, how many versions, how many translations of the Bible are there? I wonder if there are thousands. I think that's possible. And it might only be a few hundred. And you know what? Even if there are only 50 different versions, what that would mean are there are 50 different understandings of what the Bible has to say. So let's see if we can shine a little light on some of them and get ourselves out from under the darkness of trying to decide which version should we be using, which is the best. So what I'm going to do is lift up 3 different approaches to reading the Bible that are used primarily in the United States. 3 different approaches for reading, interpreting, and translating the Bible. And your job is to pick out the one you are most familiar with, pick out the one you are most comfortable with, pick out the one which resonates. Notice which ones makes you uncomfortable, which ones challenge you, which one would you like to learn more about. And it's possible. I'm only giving you 3 of them, so they might all be the same. You might have the same answer for all of them. So, one of the approaches is the literal approach to reading the Bible, and that became popular in the 1800s. The second would be the historical critical, or just the critical. That way of reading the Bible became popular in the 1900s. And the third way that we're going to talk a little bit about is the cultural or sociocultural. And that's a way of reading the Bible that is emerging today. So the literal approach became popular in the United States in the 1800s. When this approach is used, a verse or a passage is read, and then we say what it plainly means. For example, if you are looking at the Bible literally and you read, turn the other cheek, a literal understanding would be, turn your head, right? Turn the other cheek, turn your head. If they hit you once, let them hit you again. If you are fond of the literal approach, a good question to ask yourself is what was happening in the United States in the 1800s that would make this literal approach, that might make this literal approach useful or popular? And that question leads us to the next approach, and that is to interpret or read the Bible from a historical critical perspective. This method became popular in the 1900s, and it became popular with the rise in science. So when you use the historical critical method, you look at a history of the passage. What language was it written in? Who was it written to? Who wrote it? What was their agenda? What was their objectives? What were the people going through? The historical critical method of reading the Bible has a stronghold in both ways. A stronghold and a stronghold in our society. It is the method preferred by academia. It is the method preferred by the experts. It's the method for those who have done their homework. So what they're going to do is take that turn the other cheek verse all the way back to Deuteronomy 21:24, and instead of talking about, a literal turning of the head, they're going to talk about restricted revenge. And this brings us to the third approach.